primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the bright center of the galaxy, I'm Greg's Contact, and you're listening to Core World News. Your Holland news service providing in-depth coverage of the latest stories from around the galaxy. Welcome to a Pillars of Star Wars special. Wars in the Stars. Please report to the bridge and join Ben and Grant in the command center for your mission briefing on the many battles of Star Wars.
All right, thank you very much, Grex. It's amazing to be doing Wars in the Stars finally on a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
Grant, how are you, dude?
I'm doing great. I mean, seeing Grex in the command center once more on the holo feed.
He makes it look good. He's a stylish dude.
But for this specific episode, Red 7 standing by. I am pumped to talk about the wars.
I am too. I wish Adam was here to join us, but he's not going to be able to make it tonight. Sends his regrets. I'm sure when he gets back, we'll hear about his favorite battles, but he is busy searching for the remnants of Commander Pyre's gold armor floating in the debris field around Barabesh. So we wish him well in that, I don't know, that Easter egg hunt, and we will see him next week. But this week,
just the annual Stormtrooper Easter hunt. Like, yeah, of course. We got to hunt down one trooper. There's one trooper that's been the most meddlesome that we got to take down, and it's Pyre.
It's Pyre,
For all the Resistance fans out there, I don't know how many people. I loved it. I don't know how many people watched it, but
right, Resistance is the deepest cut. The stuff is important for this to prep for this pillar. Actually, Grant told me about this book. It's called Battles That Changed the Galaxy. Picked up myself a hardcover edition, and it's written by Jason Fry, Cole Horton, Chris Kempshaw, and Amy Ratcliffe. And it was just published last year, and it's amazing. I don't know if you're into the books. I think these books are exactly like kind of what we're trying to do in real time, where they just like synergize everything that's happened and along a pillar, actually. And this pillar is war in the stars. It's battles. So really what we're going to talk about
like
today.
A super clear timeline of all the battles during all the different wars, basically your, Republic era, your Galactic Civil War. And interestingly enough, I think it's called the First Order Resistance War. Like, right?
I don't have that here. I think, you're right. It's called the First Order Resistance War.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Okay. So that's like, and it's kind of like this canon telling of all the wars. If you have the old Essential Atlas, also authored by Jason Fry, there's a lot of coverage of the many battles across the stars. But this book is like a really clean cut, like timeline. It's great. I love it.
And it's all very focused. It's all in military terminology with like that lens that synergizes sort of everything that was happening then. There's a lot of strategy going on. It talks about like what worlds you go to. It's like you're either looking for rare resources, military production, hyperspace lanes, or just, then there's like safe worlds. It goes into like it goes into hyperspace a lot, actually, if you want to get into that, and spycraft. And
sometimes you just got to attack the Kuwait shipyards to slow down production.
Yeah, I never really thought of it, but that was a big battle, and we'll talk about the Battle of Sullust later for sure. We were thinking about gamifying today and doing like our top 3 battles each, like our favorite battles, and like pretty much anytime someone fires a blaster, it's considered a battle.
Yeah, and this is written or live action or animated. This is on all mediums.
Yeah.
Any battle you want to highlight. And I think we're going to take some off the table, right?
Yeah, so that was the thing. We wanted, we were just like, if there'd be a pretty boring podcast if we're like, the Battle of Endor, it was awesome. The Battle of Yavin, so.
I mean, you can't beat the Battle of Yavin. It's
right.
It's the
first
battle
Star Wars.
It invented the DNA of the Star Wars battle, like the space battle.
Yeah, totally.
With dogfights, you have everything in there. Force moments. You have fighter pilot moments. It's just incredible. You just don't have any kind of I guess there's not a ground operation happening during it. It's just strictly a
Right.
space battle, which I actually love. And
Yeah, they
actually-
integrated the ground battles in later, but like, I mean, it was
Yes.
Star Wars, so the movie Star Wars paid off with a war in the stars, and it was cool, and starships.
yes, there's definitely one we'll talk about that is just a perfect hodgepodge of all the things you love, like starfighter battle, ground battle, force moments, sword wielding moments, things like that.
Yeah. Actually, can I just read one paragraph from Jason Fry on this? Because I think like his prose, like his words, I don't know, it's a very consistent read through this book, and it just gets you into like military mindset and really makes you focus and appreciate on like how dense these battles are and all the different events that are informing these battles and how they should be created. So it had a foreword from Roger Guyette, who's the visual effects supervisor. Yeah. So I just want to do one paragraph here. The battles in Star Wars is the first paragraph of the foreword. Battles in Star Wars are some of the most iconic in film history, from the Rebels' brave attack on the first Death Star to the Elephantine AT-ATs marching across the snow plains of Hoth, to the frenzied Battle of Starkiller Base, to the visually stunning Battle of Crate. The wars, part of Star Wars, has always filled fans with a jaw-dropping sense of awe. The stakes for each battle are enormously high, the situation's complicated, and the battles themselves leave a lasting impression, both within a galaxy far, far away and in the real world. And I just thought that sort of, I mean, he did a really poetic job of rounding up what that is. It's just like, it really, from the beginning, you're like, oh, okay, they're going to go deep on all of these battles. And there was a lot that was in there. That you're not, at the time, you're just following the action, you're feeling compassion for the main character, but you're not necessarily considering everything that's going on in these wars. There's a nerdy like war fan somewhere hidden inside me, but I only know things about fake wars in fictional realms, not really real ones.
more fun,
It's a little more fun.
peace of mind.
Yeah.
When it's a fictional setting,
Yeah, totally. So all right, so what do you want to take off the table?
I think Battle of Yavin has to be taken off the table because nothing beats, we're passing through that, all of the cockpits closing, rallying all the fighters, taking off. We're going through the magnetic fields, all the call-ins of all the fighters. It's just iconic.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like the Vader stuff, Han obviously returning. Like it's just so good. It's honestly like, it's too good. It would be our number one. It would be my number one, 100%.
Yeah.
And then Battle of Endor, I think, is just also perfect. And I'm like, it's just like utterly perfect. And I think they're just easy 1s and 2s that we just take them off the table.
Okay, that's fair. Do you want to go?
Everything else is fair, but if you think there's one more that we should take off, you let me know.
No, I don't. No, I think let's leave the rest of them on there to talk about. But those two, I think would just be sort of masturbatory at this point, or redundant, I guess is the term.
Yeah, they're just too
to be
good.
like, that was awesome.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I love all the stages in the Endor. Like, it's a pretty simple like strategy with the Battle of Yavin. They just like take off from Yavin, head over there. They have to. There's a timeline though, or there's time pressure, right? Because they're gonna have another planet destroyed if they don't win first. So there was that. But otherwise, they just flew at the thing.
They also say like Death Star approaching at the beginning of that sequence, and it's one of my favorite lines in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it's coming to us? Oh my god!
Yeah, the Death Star's here.
It's here to take out Yavin.
There is no better name for the Death Star.
Yeah, it's too good.
So
like, I'm going to cut across the x-axis and draw fire. You know what I mean? Like, like what? Like, yes, like you're inventing this great starfighter terminology. I love it.
Yeah, and the whole like looking at them in the cockpit, like face on, it's like such a cool look.
Yeah,
and all their swaggy.
Got the chatter red too. Yeah, too good. That scene, the sequence altogether is just beautiful. I think you could nitpick Return of the Jedi, honestly. Like it is the pacing, the editing, and like just jumping to the ground skirmish on Endor.
It was so complicated. It was two completely different stories going simultaneously. I thought it was so fun.
It was a little intense. I almost think like I could have separated those a little bit out and let each of them breathe almost. I don't know. Because that happens in Phantom Menace too, where the Battle of Naboo. The Battle of Naboo has a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know you've mentioned that.
I would say it's a little
over cut to
overedited.
death. You're dying from by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. It's a lot of cutting. I love when it cuts around too. It's like I'm enraptured by everything that's happening, but it's just a little quick for me.
Okay. To my dumb mind, I'm just like, awesome. And then it goes to another thing. Like, I love the pace of it. It makes, the end so frantic. And I mean, they do it in every movie now. I feel like, the prequels, and I don't know, they're exciting. That was fantastic. You compare that to the second Death Star, the Battle of Endor, and that, it was so complicated, and there was like real military strategy with the, the flanking Imperial forces, that like Star fleet that came in there. And it's really cool. This book has the formations during the different stages of the battles of all the ships. And what, like, I don't know if you knew, but they're all around the Executor. That was like the main ship, Vader's Super Star Destroyer. I thought there was a couple of those, but there's just the one. And so when they finally get the shield generator down, that they go right after the Executor. And that's pretty much what won the battle, was taking out their Super Star Destroyer. And then, of course, the destruction of the Death Star pretty much sealed it. But I like that half.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like that half of that battle more, I think.
I also like the vantage point through the Emperor's viewport, like behind him.
Right. Yes,
that is such an awesome vantage of the battle that's happening behind. It was just great. I loved it.
Yeah. That was really cool. Yeah, I guess actually he was split into thirds, right? Because you had Ground Force, Luke's narrative, and then the actual battle, the Starfighter battle outside. Luke's thing, I think, is like, you can't beat that at all. Like, the throne room is like
so good.
Yeah, that's
iconic, just dialogue, iconic character moments.
Yes, yeah, man, that movie's really good. I've been sleeping on Return, man. It's like, it's kind of,
it has the Rebel Fleet theme, which is my favorite.
Oh.
Composed by John Williams, period. Like,
yes, so I started.
There's nothing I've heard that beats it.
I agree. I 100% agree. I started
unreal.
Watching it.
It gets you so amped. You're like, you want to join. You want to jump in an X-wing. Like, the music's perfect.
Yeah, I want that, and it starts right away. I just actually started the Return, but I haven't finished it. And but I was just, that's what struck me, is like, as soon as you see the first Imperial shuttle landing in the Death Star, it's like the music is there. It's like done, and it's so good. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. So that battle's perfect. That movie is great. So yeah. Well, anything else? Anything else? I think we can use. We were debating, I think, taking Scarif off because it's just so good and like easy one or two. But like, no, I think it's deservedly in the running, because it's a modern Star Wars, and it's an attempt to emulate what we've seen before, but just almost one up it and do different things, be more daring, especially with the character beats at the end there, where we lose all these members of this Rogue One. Like, that's it's tough.
Yeah, and then the ultimate crescendo is the Darth Vader hallway scene. Right. But that whole I mean, I don't know.
Let's keep it in the running.
Picking here. Let's keep it in the running. Yeah. Keep it in the running for sure. How do you want to do it? You want to go first? Flip a virtual coin?
Let's flip a coin real quick. Do we have one? I'll flip one right here. Ready? Heads or tails?
Tails.
There's tails. You go. You can choose. You go first.
Scarif.
Or you choose. Scarif? 3?
Yeah.
For number 3? Oh wow, we're getting right into it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I'm not ranking these well, but the bottom line is we just started talking about it, and if you don't talk about it, I'm gonna. It's definitely top 3. It could be my favorite.
Yeah. Right. Because this is also a draft, and I don't think we should repeat. So like,
no, definitely not.
Scarif off the table. That was pretty high on my list. That was like way up there. So I won't use Scarif. So good, dude. That battle it stands out. Like Radis, like calling him the Hammerhead Corvettes, like just everything about how the shield gets disrupted. How it's so good. Like
They're
everything.
that's right. We're gonna push a super Star Destroyer into the shield and break through it. Yeah, Raddus is a legend, and yet this book talks about how after that battle, he's like a complete folk hero. Like everyone thinks, talks about Raddus. Like that guy was crazy and he was awesome. Died in the battle.
Eric, like my new favorite X-wing pilot. That guy is outstanding.
There was something about like the blue squadron, like in their like blue uniforms. It was like different but similar, and it like really made you feel like you didn't really see them in the original trilogy. So you get the sense like, okay, they were there, but we didn't see them for some reason. They were like doing something else. This is a different flavor, and just making the galaxy bigger with like different squadrons and green and blue squadron.
Yeah, that actor Ben Daniels is incredible. He plays Anton Merrick. Blue outfits. You also get like General Draven in this movie, and he's like incredible in not only this movie but some of the novels he appears in as well.
Okay.
So good.
Where was General of the Republic or the Rebellion? Sorry.
Yeah, Rebellion. You get all that. I mean, Krennic, the whole like tower. It has my favorite stormtrooper death scene in all of Star Wars.
Stormtrooper death scene? Okay,
it's when the Death Trooper like falls down the archive shaft and like just makes that like strange noise. It just kind of like wails as he like goes by us or something. I love that scene. It's one of my favorite moments. Krennic was a fantastic villain. He's kind of like
so good.
It felt like it just felt like that actor. I'm forgetting the actor.
Ben Mendelsohn.
It felt like he was just like riding off his sort of like Dark Knight Rises sort of like corporate stooge character, but like just being more sniveling in this. Like it was just like perfect for him as the kind of genre character actor he can be sometimes, and he's also just an incredible actor in general, just in even other works I've seen, and so it's like I don't know. That was what a great performance. The whole scene was incredible.
Yeah, he was fantastic. That was like great use of a great actor. Like that was like, to me, that's like Sir Alec Guinness worthy like acting chops in a Star War. But yeah, because like he had such a complicated relationship with Galen Erso and Mads Mikkelsen. But in the I had read a book which sort of set all that up, and then but in the movie they kind of flesh it out in a couple sentences, like in a couple, the altercation in the field, and then like later on I think they have one more chat, and like you get it because the acting's so good. But yeah, I mean that battle is so complicated. The jungle battle, I love that they use like a tropical background for this like Imperial base. I thought it looked amazing. They have another map in this battles thing, and it's like it's original content for this, and you're looking down at a map of this space station, and it looks kind of like what is the town the city that I can't think of, where it's all made by hand. It's just like they just created like sandbars in concentric circles. It kind of looks like the window of in the Emperor's throne room.
It's just beautiful geometry that definitely feels like an homage to that, but also just like the array, the actual solar dish, and it felt very original. And then like the array felt like a Nemoidian command center. But it also it was familiar sort of designs, Macquarian sort of like superstructure designs.
I loved
it.
Yeah, I mean this book obviously is mostly images, and they're just breathtaking images. But I always love in the architectural style of Imperial bases. I know they're like kind of like space brutalist, but I just think they look so cool.
Very cool.
And there's a lot of that in this book. So
also just the shore trooper, outstanding just design. And so the ground scenes in this are awesome, because you're getting shore troopers, death troopers, stormtroopers. You're getting a variety
Yeah, dude, and tank troopers are like they're like 1 and 1A, like two of the coolest like uniforms they have.
Yes, very cool helmet design on the tank trooper.
Yeah,
you also get the AT-ATs with the tan siding in this, sort of like beach themed.
I think they're actually huge. They're like
they're actually like they're
transport ships.
I also feel like they're an earlier model though. I feel like they're like they're not exactly the AT-AT. I think there's something else.
Right. Yeah, they had shorter ones, and then they had those taller ones that I think were just transporting like huge containers, like storage containers.
That's right, because it looked like there was almost shipment container.
Yeah, one of them was empty, and it like looked kind of crazy. I think it was original in the quarry art, but for those things.
Oh, very cool.
But yeah, that ground battle. I mean, yeah, seeing an AT-AT come through the palm trees is like some of the cool stuff. Anyway, so we've been gushing over this battle. It kind of has it all, and it doesn't really have a little bit of the Force aspect, right? The Chirrut Imwe, his crisis of faith, and Baze Malbus's he's the real crisis of faith guy. But then it's just like this like heart story at the center of it. The main focus is just like normal people trying to do the right thing with
and there's just true stakes in that scene, and real stakes. We happen to be on the bad end of it as audience, because we're focusing on these characters. We're growing to love these characters, and they're just taken away from us just at the end of the film. It's definitely a gut punch, but somehow like the hope rides in the plans, the actual Death Star plans in the film. I think this is the genius of the script, is that the intel, the actual MacGuffin is almost like an element of hope instead of just like a prized item. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the time there's as much as a lightsaber is an incredible MacGuffin to pass around in a film, the plans that are acquired in this film are like pivotal to like the entire galactic civil war. Like it's for the rebellion victory. It's I don't know. It's just just a great film. It was that's why I think it was merited being made, just because that story was.
Yeah, totally. They're just like, we'll make a story out of the credits. It was just too good an idea to pass up, and I just feel like it was executed perfectly. I mean, to add tribute to like the gravity of those Death Star plans, like what's going to happen, but there's like 15 minutes where you're on the edge of your seat being like, are they going to make it? I mean, all the way through, like following the plans and like, in the Vader hallway scene, and then just trying to get it through. And it's a crazy, like frenetic, like battle at the end. And it's awesome.
That's amazing.
So that's my first one.
That's a great pick. That's such a good pick. That was pretty much going to be my number one. So that's great. You picked it.
Yeah, great.
So good. I'm going to have to go Battle of Crate. I'm going to have to go with just the production design, the white salt on top of the red clay, just how it was used in the poster, how it was used in the marketing, how the entire film has this like beautiful red throughout. I think the Last Jedi is a work of genius, and I think like especially the production design and the art direction are top notch. At the same time, it's like I have mixed feelings about that, like certain ideas in that film, like not ideas per se, but more like just choices, I guess.
Yep. Yeah.
That's about it.
I think that's safe. I mean, for everything, we've got, I don't know, at this point, you can't look at like a group of films and media as hard as we do and not have, not notes, but ideas, we'll say generously. The things
I almost think the ideas are great in the film. I think just like,
of course.
Yeah.
But we're going to form our own ideas naturally about like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it did this thing?
Yeah. I like that. And how it just kind of reintroduces an audience to the Force, like in a way that the first film kind of like didn't do. It didn't sit down with us and give us the Force in a way that Luke kind of gives us. And I just love, and the Yoda moment, obviously this moment, the Snoke and Kylo, the villain work. I love the film. It's an incredible film. But that battle blew me away. Like just the battle sequence in that, just taking the land speeders out and like, what? Like, it looks so good. Like, unreal how good.
Yeah, like just visually alone, it's so striking. It's instantly recognizable. I think another battle we probably should have taken off the table is the Battle of Hoth. But this one feels like that. Obviously, it's like, okay, there's a rebel base and there's a ground assault with massive ATM-8s, I think, are what they're called, or something.
Yes.
M6s, I think, and they, and that whole thing. But it's really different because that was like, oh, it's a base and we're trying to escape. This place is like, it's a last stand. Just like, they, lost most of their forces just trying to get there. And they're trying to survive this one battle, and they're holed up in a massive bunker. I mean, it's a really cool concept. And
we also get the Chewie moment.
Oh,
like that's attached. The whole like Millennium Falcon and fighting off TIE fighters. Like that's so good.
That scene like stole the movie.
It's like and the John Williams score kicks in. It's Here They Come starts playing, and they it's just it's perfect. It's like perfect visuals for sort of like a dogfight going interlaced with this battle.
Yeah, and Chewie just like at the top of his game.
Yeah,
just like
you're basically showing us he might be the best pilot in the galaxy. I was like, Han's a lot of talk, but like Chewie backs it up. Like Chewie's ready.
Yeah, he that was a lot cleaner. It was still pretty. He hit a couple things on the way through the place.
He had porgs like harassing him.
Yeah, that's right.
It was payback for eating them earlier, though.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is he did it by himself, right? There was no one in the pilot's chair. He was just like did it from the co-pilot's chair, right?
He had the porg with him that was like screeching.
Oh, well, that wasn't helping. I was just like, but I mean, no one pilots the Millennium Falcon alone, except like only
Rey's a pretty good pilot as well. Though I would argue Rey is probably one of the best pilots in the galaxy as well. She even like scolds Poe in Rise of Skywalker. She's like, "You like light speed skip? Like, how dare you?"
They're everyone's pushing boundaries, trying to do their best against the Final Order. Yeah, man. Oh, dude, Chewie, so good. So great. That was cool. And then of course you get, because I know you love Force action. You get that
you get a Force moment.
Yeah.
You get Luke's death, which is like honestly like the most powerful thing this movie does is basically gives you the final moment with Luke Skywalker before he passes into this. Pretty incredible beat. Like it just felt like a very momentous moment in the overarching canon. I was like, oh, this is the end of Luke. Wow.
Yeah. I never really thought of it like that, but that, each one of those movies was marked by the death of the original, like one of the original three, like the main three, which is kind of somber, and I don't know if it's necessary, but cool. That's the way they did it. They just sort of, they
were like, we'll figure it out in 7 years. And then Mando is like their new testing bay for just de-aging and like doing all types of crazy, face gen stuff, morphing.
Yeah, we'll see. It would be wild if we got another original 3 member like digitally reproduced in that show. I think Luke's enough.
It's so good. If that technology was, if they were trying to explore some of the de-aging technology earlier, I would have loved to have seen like sort of young Luke moments blended with like what happened after Return of the Jedi, like setup, like almost like what Lord of the Rings does, like more setup Luke, like a lot of setup Luke, because like I feel like we were kind of like we were already doing flashbacks. Like if you watch the films, there are flashbacks there.
Yeah.
So I don't see why not just jumping back and doing more. I don't know, sort of like Tolkien-esque setup.
I feel that, man. I feel that.
Anyways, that battle blew my mind. Like just the color, the contrast.
Yeah,
it just felt just popped in every way. The laser battering ram that kind of comes in at the end there. Like what?
Yeah,
what is that?
Yeah, the laser battering ram was like, I was like, wait, I didn't see that originally. What?
Remember that?
Yeah,
that's part of that.
They're like, well, we're gonna need this thing.
And then what is towing?
Totally
I feel like it's being towed by like 2 random.
Oh yeah, then it's like these towing like machines as well to carry it, and it's like, why does it need like 600 feet of lead on either end. Like no one knows. It's like, that's just how you tow it. I think it works because something they don't talk about at all, but the supremacy, which if you've seen it in any of the other like picture, books that they have about The Last Jedi, it's like impossible to like understand the scale of how humongous the supremacy is. Like in its wings, Star Destroyers dock. Like it's got room for like 20 Star Destroyers docking in its wings. It's a mobile city, and it's their command city. And that was a strategic thing that Snoke did to, like you'll never find our hideout because our hideout can move, which is a common theme, hideouts and like planets that are off the grid, hidden worlds, where you can amass a force. It's like one of the major parts of battles in the stars. Like that's one of the things.
The First Order was very covert. I mean, you had Operation Cinder, where the Emperor basically had a contingency plan where he had almost everything destroyed, like a lot of Imperial data banks, like just storage, like all types of things were just destroyed, and entire like units and divisions were like wiped out, and like basically there was a sort of like Darwinian survival of the fittest that happened, and sort of these certain specific officers like elevated to learn these kind of like these secrets about a new sort of convergence of remnant Imperials in the unknown regions. And then out there they basically worked on they built new bases, they gathered a new fleet. Obviously what's going on in Exegol seems to be a result of all of that. So it's just fascinating how covert they were, and then the supremacy is this sort of like just mega starship that is obviously a moving base.
Well, that was another one of the things is that, there's a lot of information about it, like sort of Mandoverse era stuff, which it's alluded to in a lot of the books, but it's synthesized well here. And it's essentially the New Republic, like an essential part of the, the New Republic under Mon Mothma was demilitarization. It's like you can't topple an imperialist regime and then still have a massive military. It's bad optics to everyone that's going on. It's like, you just replace one dictator with another? Like what's going on? Plus with all the disinformation flying around from the Empire. So yeah, that demilitarization, they said they reduced their fleet by 90%, the New Republic, which is huge. I mean, that's nothing. So yeah, by doing that, they had a lot of blind spots. They couldn't patrol everything. And that's how the First Order rose to prominence. And I think the Mandoverse is going to show us what's going on there.
Yeah. But so I think just The Last Jedi all around just has the best sort of new vehicles and new starships, just when it comes to wars in the stars. And I mean, if I guess the evacuation of Dakar is still on the list, so we'll just push forward, and if that comes up, we can talk about that, because that is considered a battle, I believe. So because I mean, Poe does fight off that one giant, the starship, and the bombers attack. It's just it's definitely a battle sequence,
Yes, absolutely. In Dakar, it kind of is. It is sort of Fury Road, that whole movie. Like that plot line's like one battle, but they break it up in here. And I'm taking Jason Fry's word for it. All right, are you ready for another battle?
Let's go.
All right, my second favorite battle is the Battle of Sullust.
So good. Is that what's behind you right now?
Yeah. Yes. That's why I had to. We have our war backdrops behind us on on the Skype. And
Fulminatrix. That's what that ship was called in The Last Jedi. I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go. That was gonna bother you. The Fulminatrix.
Best name ever. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they put so much effort into these names, and they're so amazing. Dude, the Executor, I just think is like the coolest name for a super Star Destroyer.
And it was a Dreadnought class. So
yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah. So wait, the Fulminatrix?
Sullust.
Yeah. So Sullust, I have a soft spot in my heart for this planet, but this is we're learning about the foundations of it as a military power because it is in the Imperial era for sure was turned into essentially just like raw materials for the Kuat drive yards. Kuat, they make all the Star Destroyers for the Empire. So it was a massive strategic location, and it was taken over. And actually, that was the base of operations for the Battle of Endor, ultimately, after the Rebellion won the Battle of Sullust. So, yeah, Rebellion versus Empire. And a lot of it takes place in Battlefront and Battlefront 2. The books Twilight Company cover a lot of that battle. And I enjoyed those. And obviously I played the games a lot. So you could be there. So it's like, I mean, I don't know what it was originally, and hopefully the High Republic will tell us what it was like. Like, it could have been a verdant planet, but at this point, it's just like a volcanic planet. And it was, they were the most fun and beautiful maps to play on in the Battlefront series. And it's just like so stunning. So instead of like white and red, like Crate, it's black and red. Everything's black and red. And then of course you have the Sullustans themselves, which are cool. Nine Nub was discovered here. He was a rebel himself on Sullust before on a small scale, and then joined after that battle. So of course that's a big one.
I loved that mission playing as, I think, Lando Battlefront. And that takes place before the Battle of Endor?
Yep.
That's before. Yeah, that was a great mission. Just the aesthetic. It's like a lava world. Like, let's talk about what Sullust.
Yeah.
Sullust is a lava planet. It's basically, it's like Mustafar, but almost more craggy and almost. It's just like.
Yeah, it has more cooled lava.
And then it has the Imperial brutalist stuff, just like basically entrenched into like the mountainside with the escarpments. It's like gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's very cool. Like, very cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like, unlike Mustafar, it's not sort of like mysticism with Vader's castle and whatnot. It's like, it's very much industrial, but like in a lava world, almost like what the Mustafarian natives of Mustafar, what they were doing in Revenge of the Sith. What you saw, they were it looked like they were industrial to a degree, moving like shipping containers.
Yep. Yeah. Another place in an earlier time. So that's pretty much it. I guess there's not too much to go into. Nine Nub was, and insurrection.
Also, stormtroopers, like the white stormtrooper armor pops on Sullust. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty cool look contrast.
I know.
Like, it's almost like Crate level red and white, but you'd have the white, Imperials against the craggy, ashen, volcanic backdrop.
Right. So you got the contrast. I know. Actually, I wonder. You don't get any ground troops or many shots of ground troops on Crate, probably because it just like vanished. It would be white on white, on red.
I would love to see like a salt trooper.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, they had.
This is a little teardrop tattoo, like right on its like underneath its eye.
Pure salt. I love that. So that's all us.
So
what else you got?
Okay, let's go back to my list here. All right, this is tough because now we're getting to we're getting to 2 and 1 here. So Sullust, you just love that. That's like an iconic look. That's a great battle.
It's a great battle. I love it because of the Kuat drive yards.
Mainly, you get more information from the novels about that. The Twilight Company.
The novels and the games are kind of where that lives. And actually, I kind of undersold that it's on two fronts. So there's the ground battle, but the whole ground battle is for the space battle, where they need to actually destroy the shipyards themselves. And that's an amazing, it's like a dark.
If we're gonna if we're gonna jump into novels, there's definitely some in Alphabet Squadron that I love, but I gotta say, I'm just gonna go with it. This is a big battle, the Battle of Jakku.
Oh, that's a good one, man. That was on my list.
Reading about it in Aftermath, Empire's End, reading about just all of the detail on what was happening there. It has incredible sort of starship stuff. Obviously Battlefront games highlight that battle as well. It has this incredible, I guess there's sort of an energy field at the core of the planet, and the core of the planet is almost like it's hinted at that the core of the planet was almost like as much concentrated kyber as like Ilum or like Starkiller. Like there's something about Jakku being like the dead heart of like kyber or something like that, and there's like this crazy energy field there that basically when triggered like creates a sort of gravitational pull and pulls all starfighters, star destroyers, all cruiser class ships just towards the desert and basically like crashing them into the sands. And that's just so crazy. And it just has a great kind of like Gallius Rax is in that scene, and Gallius Rax is having flashbacks to like playing chess with the Emperor. Like it's just awesome. Like and then Battlefront is there too. Battlefront, there's like you go into the Battle of Jakku. You could fight in the Battle of Jakku in the Battlefront games.
Yeah, that was a fun map too. Actually, I had a lot of fun there. Like the crash thing in the middle,
and then you see it. You see the aftermath in The Force Awakens. Like it's all there. Like you kind of can see what happened there, and then it leaves it up to your imagination as an audience member as to, like, you know, how epic that was. And
I know, and the Battle of Jakku, it's really kind of esoteric. You'd have to dig a little bit. It was a lot of early novels that talked about early in the new canon that talked about it, but it's like it was the culmination of all of Palpatine's efforts to form Operation Cinder, and like what Operation Cinder was is like he wanted to destroy both sides, and like open it up for his new order, and that was the whole point. And so
pivotal battle. So just a really pivotal battle in the storytelling, basically the transition from the Civil War to the First Order.
Right. And he, like, you know, the Emperor handpicked the people he wanted to start the First Order and pulled them into the unknown regions, and then, you know, left everyone else to be cannon fodder. And like,
I kind of love that plot. I kind of really would love to see that plot live action, just because it's like, who are these worthy sort of successors that he chooses, and like, why are they chosen? It's almost like a great mystery thriller as well. And then it's also, I just love that.
We do get one POV in the Chuck Wendig Aftermath series in Rey Sloan, and she's a very interesting Imperial commander. And she does end up going with the teams back to the unknown regions. And I think we see her in Exegol.
Yes.
I think she's on deck there. So it's like she made it the whole...
I think she appeared in Squadrons too when you played Squadrons or something.
Totally. Yeah, she was the antagonist across from Harrison Dula in Squadrons. There's Squadron stuff in this book too. The Skyhawk. That whole like Skyhawk plot is
right. There's really cool battles in that game as well. The space battles. But so Battle of Jakku for me, just because some of that imagery of just crashed Star Destroyers, like it was inspiring, and just to think of what that battle must have looked like, and then also reading about the battle, knowing that like Luke basically like chimed in via holofeed to like all the starfighters. Yeah. Like what? Like
he's like, let's go.
Like Commander Skywalker just like rallying everyone like in this kind of war in the aftermath of the Civil War. It's so cool.
That was like one of the coolest things, and it was told in the Aftermath series in like a fever dream of your POV character. Like they were like, you know, just gotten shelled and were half out of it, and then just like saw the image of Luke Skywalker being like Red 5 reporting in, and you know, so, unbelievable. And I would love more of that speech. If we got that in the Mandoverse, I would be really, really excited. That's a good one, man. Yeah, the ground stuff is dark too, because it's like they're starting to take in strays and turn them into stormtroopers, and like they're like really the ones that survived to Jakku were like really, they were all those like orphans, but they were like evil orphans gathered by Brendel Hux.
Yes, yeah. That's in the Phasma novel. They a lot of that.
They were grimy. They were grimy stormtroopers. Yes. And we get Snap Wexley and
the murder droid Bones.
Mr. Bones.
Mr. Bones.
Yeah.
Dude, Nora Wexley too, incredible character.
Nora Wexley's a great character.
Those books Snap was great. The Aftermath books are fantastic. And if you like played Battlefront, like you almost, I think those books are like a perfect companion to that game almost. And like,
yep.
In the first Force Awakens, obviously, it's like just to understand the Battle of Jakku was just had so many more layers to me as a viewer because I think I had read Aftermath just before like watching the film.
Right. I mean, they go into it. You see it in the Aftermath books, but I don't think you see it from any other POV. I don't feel like there's no comics about the Battle of Jakku. The games are sort of around it.
It's kind of veiled in secrecy too. Yeah. There was something at the center of that planet, this secret installation, and pretty cool.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I'm glad you picked that one because that was on my list too, and I didn't know if I was going to get to it.
Yeah, should we go obscure? Are we going to go more obscure, or are we going to go like more iconic at this point? Like, what?
I'm going. So we each have one more guess. I think you're going up to your like favorite. I'm going the other direction. I think my favorite sort of towards the obscure. And I've got one that's pretty obscure. And my final choice, this is obviously a hard one, but I don't know, this battle just struck me. It's the Battle of
Legends.
It's canon. It has to be canon. I'm not.
Oh, it does? That has to be okay.
No, actually, no. If you know a lot more.
No, honorable mentions. We'll talk about some Legends stuff, and I think we'd be remiss not to mention what Adam would pick.
I know. That's number. What. So
it would be his number one too. He would.
Yeah.
It would be.
And I think we will talk about it right now because I'm going to pick the other battle that happened concurrent with Adam's pick, which is the Battle of Mandalore.
Oh.
So
it's. Oh, you're talking about the Battle of Mandalore. Are you talking about Clone Wars, like the Death Watch versus Satine and all that stuff? Dude, so good.
Yeah,
a lot of jetpack action, like a lot of just like sweet, like it was crazy because like I always pictured Mandalore to be almost like more naturalistic, like more a part of nature and almost like Jedi-esque in a way, and it's quite the opposite. It's a kind of
it's so war torn. They live in domes. They live in like biodomes because like. The generations and thousands of years of war have like scoured the planet, so they have
those little zones are like massive cities, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But you can live out in the wild. It's just like it's hard country, and So so this is Maul adjacent, but it's kind of my favorite Maul. There's a great Clone War where Sidious has finally had enough of upstart Maul. Like running Mandalore, like that's enough where he became a nuisance, and Palpatine Sidious goes to Mandalore and just puts the smack down on Maul and Savage personally. It's awesome. It's awesome, and it's dark, and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna just take care of this myself. He's like, I created that guy,
I believe, on Mandalore. Is that right?
I think that's where Savage dies.
Right. I think that's where Savage. Yeah, it's a rough.
And Maul escapes with his life, but he still is running Mandalore from the shadows, like death. Like he's doing the same thing as he was before, but he's doing it more covert now. And Ahsoka Tano puts an end to that. So he's doing that. Bo-Katan is like, this is a real threat here. Like Maul is a real guy, and we need to get him out of here. And so she appeals to Ahsoka Tano for help. Ahsoka's already out of the order at this point, but agrees to help. And, they finagle away where Captain Rex hires her as like Ahsoka as a consultant. And they go into this battle with the 501st under the command of Ahsoka and, Rex. But they're kind of outmatched because Deathmatch, it's on their territory. Death Watch. And they're all, Death Watch is all decked out in their Maul gear, like their Maul DeLorean look.
Which is a sweet look.
It is a pretty sweet look. It's like the armor, but it's like a lot of red and black face paint and mask paint.
I've yet to acquire that Black Series figure, but I will.
That'd be a good one. Wait, so there's Maul DeLorean Black Series figures?
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah.
That's sweet. But it just... Ultimately, the battle means nothing because as soon as it's over, Order 66 happens, and it's just like, oh, okay. But it's our only like in canon Mandalorian war. that we get, and sort of the first introduction to like the relationship between Mandalore and the Empire. And I just think it lays down it did a lot of good connective tissue synergy wise for Mandalore and what we're looking at now in the Mando, with the show The Mandalorian and Boba Fett and ultimately Ahsoka. I think it's
also in Mandalorian we learn about the Mandalorian Jedi Wars of the past, which we don't know enough about to basically put them on our lists just yet, but it's fascinating. I really hope that's really the next trilogy that I think we could get, is basically exploring those wars. Tar Vizsla, the birth of the Darksaber.
That would be amazing. To me, that would feel like Game of Thrones, Star Wars.
Yeah, it would be,
in a good way.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it would be almost perfect if you had like great actors.
Because you'd have like great houses of the of Mandalore, and then that would be like the Thrones, the Game of Thrones, and then you'd have the Jedi at that time period, which could be wild, like thousands.
Also,
it's
first
thousands of years,
Mandalorian to be trained as a Jedi, like as a figure in the storytelling.
So you could just open up like all these new Jedi, a whole new feeling. Like it could be so like decadent, and like the Jedi could be weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Jedi could be like kind of like not the heroes. It would be cool.
Yeah.
You'd have like a nice angle on the Jedi that's not so biased. It's like
Instead of like virtuous, it's like a little too opulent and like self-important. Like
what do they look like as a faction in the galaxy? And you're you're siding with the Mandalorians. Yeah,
they could be like super, actually like elitist. Just like feel like there's something else. Or I think the more fun way would probably be to go super religious. Like it would be like a church, but not Christian. It would have to be something with like a lot of religious zealots and like, but maybe there's corruption in there because of like, power or whatever that they have over people, because they're just like, wizards. I don't know. It could be wild. Just spitball here.
No, that would be so cool, because you could create like a really fun plot mechanic where it's like the Mandalorians think they're just in doing something, and then the Jedi intervene, but the Jedi, it's really for like bureaucratic needs in the core. Like they could be really crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you have Tar Vizsla, who's the, breaches both sides and ties it together. And like, what's the construction of of course, that's my number one question. The bullet is, what's the construction of the Darksaber like? Like,
what's in that thing? What's in that?
Yeah. How is that thing made? Like, did you have to like sacrifice like some, extinct creature or something?
Yeah, to kill a Dark Lord of the Sith.
Oh, yeah. Right. The Kyber crystal is bathed in the blood of some like Sith Lord or something. Like, I don't know how, something.
All right.
Anyways,
one battle.
that would be cooler, but that's mine. The Mando War. It was just poetic. It's a beautiful series, and Ahsoka, something.
Satine and Obi, so like all the way there for those characters.
Yeah.
All right, my number one. You ready for this?
No, I'm not ready.
This is literally ranked as my lowest ranking Star Wars film.
All right.
My number one battle is the battle over Coruscant.
See, I thought that was going to be Adams, but okay.
Numero uno for me, just because I have never been more riveted by the opening of a Star Wars film than I was watching Revenge of the Sith. It was the perfect opening ever. I almost wish it just hung in that battle sequence longer without revealing the pilots. It just almost like loop the first 30 seconds over and over and over again. It was just so good. I love that. I love the droids. I love the idea of fighting droids. I feel like that's super perilous. I feel like the droids have nothing to lose, and they're just like numerous. There's something terrifying about fighting droids in space. I think it's like Babylon 5 vibes. It's just kind of like,
because they're like breathing out there. They're moving around like there's no restrictions, and in frightening agility, and like and they don't have the same fear that you have, which is like, if I get outside of this cockpit, I am dead instantly.
Yes. Yeah, and you get some sweet moves by Anakin and Obi-Wan. You get some classic R2 moments that people deem too slapstick, and I deem absolutely spot on perfect, and I absolutely love all the R2 beats in that.
I do too. Yeah,
I think it's just super.
Because he's like battle hardened too.
Yeah, you know? It's his moment.
Yeah, he's like that's his like Vader moment, but like not in a bad way. Like he's a hardened war veteran at that point. Here he's taken out battle droids himself.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's what I think.
There's also a lot of like super meta stuff in this scene where like again where Obi like his legs get crushed and Anakin's like his fate will be the same as ours, and there's that sort of like it is the same.
But no, go into that more because you told me that for the first time.
Beat with Dooku, like, are you kidding me? Like that whole sequence is nuts.
It's nuts. That whole thing and just Christopher Lee's look on his face when they're in like the lightsaber battle, when he's in the lightsaber battle with Anakin,
to be left alive. Like,
yeah, but even before the final part, like you see in the mid battle, Christopher Lee recognized that he's overpowered by Anakin.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, oh, whoa.
He's like, oh, his hands just
and then it was like, bing, 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 bang, your hands are gone.
And that was wild to see in like I don't know, I don't think Disney would do that, honestly. Just like hands clean off.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd get that today, honestly. I guess we do get some gnarly stuff in Mando.
We get people bisected and stuff.
Yeah, that happened like, immediately. Yeah, that was great.
It's the first 3 minutes to me are just pure joy. Diving out, or diving into the battle from the point of view of Obi-Wan or, Anakin, and then like being right on their tail as they fly through a battle. Yeah. Nothing will ever compare to that moment.
Yeah. And seeing that
Star Wars moment.
Seeing that in like 2003 or whatever, like that was just, I don't know, it was just iconic. Created the path for like the films that came after it, for that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Can I share this quote with Roger Guyette, that same ILM person? He goes, as a visual effects supervisor, I've been fortunate enough to have helped craft some of these battles. When ILM created the opening sequence of Revenge of the Sith, the Battle of Coruscant, the fate of the galaxy was on the line. It was epic in scope and yet very personal. While the audience needed to experience the scale of the battle with an intensity that we hadn't yet seen in Star Wars, their attention needed to be squarely centered on Obi-Wan and Anakin. And then he goes on the same balance.
It's also like layered, right? Like the plot is incredible. They're saving the Chancellor. And it's not like the High Republic where the Chancellor's just at a fair and she has two, powerful lions that protect her. And
he looks helpless. Palpatine looks
he's basically just like strapped to a chair. These Jedi have to save him in a cruiser that's basically like a flagship that they want to bring down anyways. And like, that plot is great. That's a great starting point for anything. It's so immediate. It's so epic. And then again, personal. It's like Anakin and Palpatine. Palpatine is Anakin's mentor. Let's be real. The entire time, Anakin did find his father. Even at the very end of Phantom Menace, it's basically the hint of the entire thing is basically Palpatine is going to step in and be the shadow mentor.
That's where it all comes to culmination. But he definitely is Anakin. You're right. It's like he is Anakin's father, whether it's biological or force created or not at all, which I think not at all is the answer. It's pretty cool that they.
That's all in that scene. You feel it.
And they're flexing Anakin's abilities at the other end of the Clone Wars, right? Like how much he's grown as a warrior, and where he's at. And he's the star of the show there.
And this is revenge. It's also a revenge payoff because. Dooku took his arm in the previous movie.
Totally. So, and then this kind of starts the beginning of the end, but it's a fantastic battle. What was the battle you thought Adam wanted? What was his number one?
Oh, the Yuzong War.
Oh,
are you kidding me? And we're talking about Legends, the Great Sith War.
Yeah.
Is my ultimate favorite, which actually, if you read those Tales of the Jedi comics, I believe Exar Kun, the evil Sith, that's sort of like or a Jedi turned Sith who goes against the Jedi Order and wages war against them. He has a line where he says like, "We will be the spark that burns the Republic down." It's basically what you hear in The Last Jedi with like the spark that will burn the First Order down. It's that same line, but just
on the other side.
This predates it, 20 years, and it's 20, 30 years basically, and it's just a cool line, and it's just a crazy zealot of a Dark Lord waging war against the Republic. Lots of Sith and Jedi fighting each other. You get like dinosaur Jedi. You get all types of cool alien, a non-human Jedi that I adore, and I wish would get more of that.
I know. They got to start giving non-humans their due in the galaxy.
I love when it gets zany and weird, like giving strange, new species and people to see. I love that stuff. Trying to think other great battles and wars.
I like the Lothal battle from from Rebels, because you've got Thrawn is your opposite number, and he's battles take on a new shape when you're going up against him, and at that point we get sort of peak Spectre Squadron, and it's pretty great. That's a fun battle, and then you get the Bendu out of nowhere to come and just like
so good.
It's a crazy battle.
Yeah, and the Mon Calamari episodes of Clone Wars, like Mon Cal episodes, in the comics,
scenes
were incredible. And then the Vader comic, when you get the what is it, Mutiny on Mon Cala? It's like when you get all that stuff, and you get Vader leading Inquisitors on Mon Cala, like hunting Jedi amidst a sort of war. It's like a naval war, and like there's scuba troopers, and there's like. It's just a crazy.
I think there's a coup by Akbar's son.
That's right. There's a coup. Yeah.
Not Gale. I forget his first name, but yeah.
So good. Just incredible. And they do escape. I guess the Mon Calamari do escape. A few of them are contingent. It's pretty cool. The Jedi there does like the First Order thing with all the clone troopers. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a pretty sweet Force moment. When we talk about Force moments amidst battles and campaigns, it's pretty cool. I'm trying to think what other. I mean, the Battle of Naboo. Like the Battle of Naboo is epic. It's not my favorite battle, but it was groundbreaking at the time. Like seeing that battle was just stunning. To me, that's where maybe the slapstick, like amidst the battle, like. The thing for me is like the first Battle of Geonosis is exactly what I want. I just want footage like that, where it's just like random battle footage, because I just want to see what that aesthetic looks like when there's an actual like campaign happening, and it's not like Jar Jar just doing slapstick stuff with the bomb balls or whatever. Like it was funny. I liked it at the time. I was younger. I was a kid, but
they're like battling on the Windows 97 backdrop.
Yeah. And I'm saying like Gungan's going like crazy on battle droids. Like you could do crazy stuff.
Yeah, that was a funny battle. I was like, what am I looking at right now? I remember the first time, but it was cool then, like bucolic the green pastures, and like the way it like that the super battle droids and the battle droids look, the BD1 units, like how they unfurled. The
tanks. That scene is thrilling. It's riveting when the tanks actually stop. It's actually a fantastic moment when all the battle droid, the carrier tanks, the droid carriers basically stop, and then they open, like the shell opens, and the rack of troopers like emerges. That is. I
think it's the sound design that saves that whole thing, because it's just like you really feel the ships like moving around you, like when they're deploying the troop transports that look really cool, the like flying carriers. And, it's just like hearing the gears turn as it extends like an arm, like deploying BD1 units and stuff. Like, to me, that's what makes those scenes.
Mm-hmm. So good. Battle of Naboo. So good.
Yeah. And then like so many portions of that too. I mean, I looked at the Battle of Kashyyyk. There's something that's just like so classic about the Battle of Kashyyyk. It's like, it's a beachfront invasion. And then, Wookiees on their own turf with the crazy Wursher trees like growing up, and I love that battle.
That's a great battle. And like the
Yoda.
technology, the Wookiee, whatever, like those like dragonfly looking sort of like
and like air catamarans and stuff, and
so cool. I really like the design of the Wookiees.
Yeah. And then there's like all the like camo troopers. That's like pretty cool. Like the camouflaged like scout
Gree,
troopers.
is that his name? Like Commander Gree. Like
they created this like really beefy scout trooper like armor for that one battle, and like it's a really cool design.
Right. He's got the scout. It's like the prototype scout design.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yoda, of course, being
Yoda,
his thing.
That's a great Order 66 beat there too, because you get the war. What's cool about that battle is you get the Order 66 mid battle, and Yoda's there.
Yeah.
So, like, where's Yoda in the galaxy when Order 66 goes on? Turns out Kashyyyk. And about to get taken down. Like, pretty cool beat there.
You're not gonna sneak up on
Megiddo looked amazing. That battle.
Yep.
Was that the Plo Koon one or whatever? Which one? Where was Plo Koon?
Plo Koon was at Cato Nemoidia.
Oh, was he?
That was the suspended.
Oh, so Ki-Adi-Mundi was at Megiddo, which is like the snow cover.
Ki-Adi-Mundi, it was Megiddo, and he had that awesome group of Marines. They
those clone Marines, because Ki-Adi-Mundi was always outspoken on the council, where he was like, "Here, you know what? Here's what really needs to happen." You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was very, very busy in the Clone Wars, man.
He was like, when you think about Yoda and Mace like leading the council, like I feel like Ki-Adi-Mundi's like right there with them. He's kind of like the other voice, I feel like.
Totally.
With Adi Gallia and Plo Koon.
Yeah, and actually no one else ever talks. It's like Mace, Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and like, I mean, even Obi-Wan's just sit along for the ride. But those three make all the decisions, and everyone just sort of nods, and they're like, "Yep, good call."
Obi-Wan's just like leg crossed, like strumming goatee.
Yeah. Dude, I love it. He's such a pimp.
I mean, it's what you'd want to be if you were a Jedi. You'd be like, this is the kind of Jedi I would like to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just cynical, but like learns just all about data and knowledge. And I don't know.
Yeah, he plays the game. He knows how to play the game. He has his own cynicism. He deals with his own things. But it's like Obi-Wan's stoicism, which is just that's what
a boss.
He's a boss. Just like with class, like I just think that stoicism is like
first Jedi to take out a Sith in 1,000 years. Like, come on, like let's go. That was like the best story beat ever.
It was pretty cool, and I think worthy of him. So he's like already an all-star, like, But I don't know. He's just like humble, does his thing, doesn't want too much power or responsibility, just doing his best. And but the poor guy got taken for a ride. Anyway,
Battle of Utapau is pretty. I guess it's not really a battle. There is a battle there.
Yeah. With a big one there with the 212th, I think, is Obi-Wan's troopers, the Commander Cody.
Yeah, there's a battle there. That's the final battle, I think, of the Clone Wars. Right?
There's a couple. No, then there's. Well, this one lists Megiddo, Salukami, Cato Nemoidia, and Felucia as ending after.
Oh, okay.
So like
the Order 66 happens, and there are these battles happening elsewhere in the galaxy at the same time. I just thought because Grievous was on Utapau that like the council was like, this will finally bring an end to like this long war.
I think those other battles were still being fought, so it's probably like they all ended within a few hours of each other, but for whatever reason they're listing that's the order. And yeah, of course we didn't talk about Felucia. That's a map in Battlefront 2. And it's beautiful but kind of annoying to get around because there's so much vegetation, which is like what I imagine that real planet is like to move around in.
Right.
I think it was Ayala Sakura was the Jedi there that she get killed.
So cool. Yeah, I mean, like, if there was another Battlefront 3 coming out, like, what planet do you think there could be a sweet conflict on? Like, what terrain would be cool to cover?
Dude, great question. great.
I'm trying to think right now. Like what's like, dude, Dathomir. There's no war on Dathomir, so you'd never see that.
Not that I can
Umbara.
tell.
Is there any wars on Umbara? Like, I feel like that's a pretty cool planet.
Yep.
Mimban would be a fun map in a Battlefront game.
Yeah, it would. That was actually on my. That was like I just started listing some places. I'm like, that one's pretty cool. Mimban was on there because it's like I don't even remember seeing the Mimbanese. They have like a drawing of what the Mimbanese look like. They're like kind of a bird people. Or I don't know. They have sort of like a bird skull for their face. And they wear like reeds and stuff to blend into the environment.
Right. Yeah, like almost like a ghillie suit. They look very
camouflage.
It's kind of cool.
And big rifles with these like axe blades, vibroblades on them. They're pretty cool. Oh. And the design of the like mud troopers or whatever those are, they're actually pretty cool armor designs.
Right, the mud jumpers, the Imperial mud jump. That is there a toy of that? Because I'll buy that as well.
There might be in the Solo series. I think you can get like Solo or Beckett in their suit, but I think Solo would be funny, man.
Yeah. What about a Jedha map? Jedha, but like during the attack by like the Death Star, like just before it happens. But like,
you mean like with a rebel incursion or something? Yeah. Like you're on Saw Gerrera's side, and you're like, taking out tanks and like AT-ATs through the streets of Jedha. That would be fun.
It'd be like real ultra realism.
Yeah, and like you look up and it's a superstar.
Yeah, you see the Death Star is approaching.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be urgent.
Yeah.
Because the Star Destroyer is bailing at the same time. I think you see a Star Destroyer just like bailing out Imperials like at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a Star Destroyer hanging above the city that's like leaving. It like leaves,
yeah. The hanging, you get them both. So the Star Destroyer could leave, and then you could just like have the horizon filled by the Death Star. And they do that in the games. Like different things happen in the environment. When you're on Hoth, like you see the like troop transport eventually rocket out, or you see the ion cannon shooting into the into space, and that would be fun stuff to see there.
That would be very cool.
I'm trying to think, man.
Exegol, is that described the last stand of Cilia on the Chiss? You know how like it became froze over is because like this like massive this last stand against I don't know some crazy unnamed sort of like threat that they fought way back in the day.
Right, and they ended up doing that to themselves or something.
Yeah, and they had to like sacrifice like 20 people to like use the Star Flash and like. It sounded crazy. I was like, "Where's that battle? That sounds insane."
That'd be pretty cool. No, not really force ability stuff in there, but it would be beautiful to see, and like a fun, wild thing.
It sounded like a beautiful, not a beautiful thing, but like just a truly epic backdrop. I was like, "Wow, this sounds incredible." There's like, I mean, a lot of Scarif. I feel like the map we got in the first Battlefront game wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't anything to write home about. Like I think you could do.
I actually liked the first Battlefront Scarif better than the second Battlefront Scarif.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was because you had to like fight through the jungle to get to the other side of the island.
Oh.
And you could only use there's only ever one hero on the battlefield for both sides, and you could only be Krennic for the Empire, and you could only be what's her name?
Jyn Erso
for the Rebels. And it was just really fun. There was only a certain amount of paths you could take.
Okay. All right.
And so there was actually a lot of choke points in the jungle, and it was just like people, jumping out from behind ferns and blowing you away. And
you're about to boot this up right now. You're like, let's go.
I don't think I can play it anymore. It's tough to get games on that. And then when you do, it's just roving herds of people that play nothing but that game. And that one's hard. Lifers. Like it makes BF2 is way easier than Battlefront 1 to play. There's just like these meta loadouts and people just pounce. It's tough. It's tough to survive in that game. But yes, I played the heck out of that Scarif map, and it's fun. Have we done this? We've sort of gone full circle. We've talked about some extra ones. You're talking about maps. I would say Exegol. I think actually playing an Exegol map, you could there could be a ground battle on the, on the Star Destroyer. That would be amazing. And then, just looking around in the darkness with the lightning and like, looking up at all the Star Destroyers and then the obelisk of the, like that exegol, like Sith, temple. I think it would be amazing to be in that environment. And then, obviously the Starfighter battle would be insane.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Would be rad. Yeah, I mean, I'll do Mon Cala then. Like, I would love walkways above the water, and just like that would be really cool just to see that environment.
They would never do it, but
like a Battlefront that's sort of like the Clone Wars, a kind of a redux of the Clone Wars, but like really dives into like almost every campaign.
All these things: Camino, Malastare, Lola, Cato Nemoidia. Oh, there is a battle on Dathomir in here, actually.
Is there? Oh wow.
Yeah. I have to see it. It's a
cool setting. That's a cool setting.
Yeah.
Love to see like stormtrooper armor against, like sort of like red desert, sand.
Yeah. If I was gonna reach for the stars, I would actually in Mon Cala you would fight underwater. There would be like an underwater fighting mechanic. Like how fun would that be?
That would be so cool.
Tanks you could get in, and like you've got your suits, and it's just like you move in a totally different way. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Dathomir. Okay, some witches, commanders. Oh, Grievous assaulted Dathomir. And do you remember that? And
that was in Clone Wars, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in Clone Wars.
You watched that episode. That's right. Yeah. Is that with the Night Sisters?
Mother Talzin.
Yeah,
Mother Sisters. And I think they resurrected an army of the dead, which is so on brand for Dathomir. Is just like, you know what, we're going to resurrect an army to kill you. And Ventress is there, and it's pretty buck wild. They have a zombie army, and it's nuts. That would be a pretty fun map to play, and just something. I mean, I don't know. I guess I could see it anytime I want on Clone Wars, but things like Dathomir, like love the Dathomirian witches. Let's do more weird cult groups.
Sure.
So like Force cult groups. I can't get enough of them.
More unit types. It doesn't have to just be like droids or clone troopers or.
Yeah.
It can be.
Oh yeah. Back to the games.
It can be like Dathomiri warriors. It can be like Mandalorians. It can be like, like really create a crazy, varied battlefield game or something. I don't know.
I know it would be fun if you could do the sort of thing where you get into character and create, whatever tree. If you want to be a Dathomirian warrior or as a Brack warrior or a Mandalorian or whatever, and then they would work it into some sort of fictional narrative where you'd all be together fighting whatever.
I love it, dude. We covered all the battles, just live action, like animated in novels. Not all of them, but many of them. And then we covered a little bit of video game portion at the end. We didn't even do there was only one game segment. We just kind of like
we almost did it. There was
only just attached it on.
Yeah, because it's awesome. Yeah, this is such a vast like pillar of Star Wars. It's like it's the central one. It's in the name, right? So I don't know. It was just fun to look at it through this lens of just like of commanders and strategies. And I would definitely suggest getting this book, Battles That Change the Galaxy. It's, it may seem silly, but once you get into it, just like the lens and the writing is amazing, and the images are, timeless, and so fun, and just really gives you a second to like look at a battle on one frame and be like, you can look around and be like, oh yeah, all of those things were happening at the same time. And it's just beautiful and fun. But yeah, loves talking about Wars in the Stars. We'll get back at you next week. I do know what we're doing, but I don't have it in front of me. This is super pro.
We might be doing a reading Rathtar.
Okay. Yeah, the reading Rathtar is coming up, and then there was something else.
That's further down the line, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's still a bunch of other there's a Darth Vader comic book arc.
Oh yeah. We just got 22, I believe. I'm loving it. It's back to the dark heart of Darth Vader sort of arc with the Amidalans and a specific character who is tied quite closely to Padme.
Yeah.
And now she's back in the story. I won't spoil anything, but there's like not big developments, but it's just exciting kind of cliffhangery stuff with Vader that is worth checking out. I would check out Darth Vader by Greg Pak.
I think there's a very good chance that's what we'll be covering next week. So if you want to stick with us, catch up on your Vader, and we'll talk to you then. But thanks very much for listening to us this week. And we'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.
This is Grex Kondak signing off. For the latest breaking news, follow @CoreWorldNews on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you always.